Meeting to order. First item is invocation by Father Dan Balmer, St. Germain's Catholic Church, and that'll be followed by Pledge of Allegiance by Kobe Harden. Welcome, Father.
Good and gracious God, give you thanks and praise. Give thanks for the beautiful weather we have. Please send us the rain and our drought. Give thanks for our first responders. Protect and keep safe those who keep us safe. Please grant a peace of heart, peace of mind to families who worry about them. As a blessing upon our school teachers, they help our children grow in wisdom and knowledge. And blessing upon our parents, grant them abundance of love for the children trusted to their care.
And last but not least, we ask for blessings upon our town council. Grant them wisdom as a guide and direct our town both now and to the future. Rest us in Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Balmer, and thank you, Kobe. Appreciate that. Next item on the schedule is roll call. Diane?
Vice Mayor, Vice Mayor Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Grossman.
Here.
Councilmember Mallory. Here. Councilmember Marshall.
Here.
Councilmember Nye.
Here.
Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
And Mayor Skoog.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, scheduled announcements and presentations. We start with Healing Field Awards, Darlene Packard. Darlene?
When I call your name, will you come forward, please? Lieutenant Scott Stebbins. Chief Gerald. Dan Tillman and Keith Hodak. Is Gary Taylor here? Somebody from the Yavapai County Sheriff? Gary Taylor, yay. Your timing is good. Ryan Judy. Oh, sure. Heidi Foster. That's why I made you come. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Kirk Mallory.
They have to be here. You got to be here.
Don't make me come down there.
Kurt, you're so shy.
Sharon Plush. And Alex Romero. None of them are here. The next three are from the Central Yavapai Fire District, Chief Scott Freitag, Jeremiah King, and Eric Trujillo. Eric and Jeremiah can't be here tonight, and Chief Freitag is stuck on the highway somewhere. But without Central, we wouldn't have a field because they keep our flags and they keep our boots, they keep our rebar They keep it all. So we are forever in their debt. Oh, no, that's not it. Jeremiah King was instrumental in putting on the Patriot Run, which not only was the first annual Patriot Run, but it also brought newcomers to our area, and it was a really good economic development engine, if you will. And Eric Trujillo, he is our warehouse manager, and I heard him telling one of the other firefighters the day that we were taking the field down, he says, they're not flags. They're not just flags. These are people. And I talk to them when they're in my warehouse. So Central is really pretty special, as all these people are. Dan Tillman and Keith Hodak are with the American Legion Post 6. They were part of our honor guard. Chief Gerald and Lieutenant Stevens, they rounded up 71 pairs of police boots for our field. And their men were out there with setup and with takedown. So they were also very instrumental in our field. Gary Taylor in his VIP program with the Yavapai County Sheriff, it was the first year bringing them in, and they were delightful, they were helpful, and I hope you come back next year. Without Ryan Judy and his support, again, we wouldn't have a field. And Heidi was so awesome with her PR, and she really was my right-hand person. So as chair of the Healing Field, I want to thank you all for being a great team this year. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Darlene, and thank you to all of you for your help on this special event.
You should give Darlene a round of applause for being the chair of the Healing
Darlene,
Field.
good job. Okay, next item is Student of the Month, Mr. Mike Whiting. Cart, welcome. Good to see you.
Well, this is our meeting that we hold every month at this time for our Student of the Month, and we're very proud to honor another student from Bradshaw Mountain High School today, and it's Kobe Harden, and he's standing right next to the principal. And what we'd like to do is recognize him as we do every month, and it's just unbelievable the amount of hardworking students and future, I think, leaders of our community go through Bradshaw Mountain High School. But it's an award that's done in collaboration with the Rotary Club of Prescott Valley, the town of Prescott Valley, and the Bradshaw Mountain High School. And Kobe obviously excels at school, but not only at school, but also in the community and other places that really makes an impact. So that's why he's here tonight. And we believe that the values that he shows in his participation not only at school but in the community are the values that we embrace at the Rotary Club as well as the town of Prescott Valley. And obviously he's a great student. I'm sure Bradshaw Mountain High School is very proud to have him as well. What I do now is primarily just go through a little background information, and it's a way to, I think, embarrass him, but really it is a way to kind of communicate all the things he's involved with in our community. He reported in, I think, some sort of an outline that he thought high school was going to be fun. And I thought I'd ask everybody, when you started high school, how many thought it would be fun? Well, okay. Well, at least I didn't. And so obviously he had a great perspective in terms of getting started at Bradshaw Mountain. He's participated both in academics as well as sports, including basketball, which I assume is one of his loves, and has been in pre-advanced placement courses as well as advanced placement courses. And he does admit, and you'll find out a little later, that mathematics intrigues him. And I don't think, again, that's something I ever thought about, was that mathematics would be intriguing. But you have to have a certain mind, I think. And my younger son is a math teacher, so I assume he's intrigued as well. But Kobe has continued his academic and sports pursuits, expanding his horizons, which we always hope students do, by joining cross country, not only basketball. And he was inducted into, because of his intriguing, involvement with mathematics, he was inducted into the mathematics club, what's called Mu Alpha Theta. And this is, I think, something we always see, I think, in some of the students we recognize every month, is that there's certain things they're involved with, and this mathematics club is one, I think. He acknowledges that he learned the value of teamwork, which is very important, both in academics as well as sports. And, you know, that's something that takes a lot of us some time to realize, that we're going to be successful. And at a young age, I think Kobe has recognized that, and I think that's one reason why he's successful. His junior year appeared to be a transformative time, as far as I could tell, by taking advanced placement courses and honor courses while tutoring, and he said over 25 students at one time. So he took on a lot. Kobe was presented at the end of, I think, of his junior year with the Bear Award, which is Outstanding Sportsmanship, Character, and Leadership. So obviously he takes seriously not only fun, but in other pursuits, his time in high school. He continues to pursue other sports, I guess, and mountain biking team was one that he felt he would like to try out in addition to basketball and other sports, and tutoring at all levels of math. So he's a very, I think, experienced person at a young age in helping others as well. And he did report, I think the last thing I'd like to mention, now I'll turn it over to our principal from Bradshaw Mountain High School, that he's never forgotten what he was taught when he began his freshman year. And that was, you may take 2 steps, but take 5 steps forward and continue on. And obviously, Kobe learned that very well. So he's taken more than, I think, 5 steps. So I've said a lot and probably stole a lot of ammunition from Court Minor, but Court Minor's here also to give a little perspective as far as his academic activities as well. So Court Minor, Principal, Bradshaw Mountain High School.
Thank you, Michael, Mayor Skoog, council members, distinguished guests. My name is Court Minor. I'm the proud principal of Bradshaw Mountain High School, and it's my honor tonight to recognize Kobe Harden. Kobe's in the top 19% of his class. All right, he's 20th out of 385. So why didn't my staff pick the other 19 students? And I think I know why. And I love the fact that our faculty nominates and votes for our Students of the Month. And I was really happy to see Kobe not only nominated, but with many nominations from my staff. His sophomore year, he had a very tough year sophomore year, and he could have gone right or he could have gone left. And we talk about this with our high school students all the time. It's very easy to quit. That's the easiest thing to do in life. The toughest thing in life is to continue to move on. And Kobe was stressing on some things, and the first thing I thought I would take off his plate was his academics. I said, let's take you out of some of those AP courses and pre-AP courses. And he said, no, that's one thing he won't do. And so I saw his determination, his motivation was there. As he finished his sophomore year and moved into his junior year, he continued excelling in the classroom. And one of the things that I'm really appreciative of him this year is he's in pre-calculus. This is a college class he's taken on our campus, Math 172. That's dual enrolled with Yavapai College. He's not only taking the class and excelling, but as you heard from Michael, he is tutoring a ton of kids in there. And it's not like he took it, passed it, and now he's helping. He's concurrently tutoring while he's doing it. But I think that shows his love and passion for math, but not only his love and passion or caring for the other students at Bradshaw Mountain High School. So again, I'm very honored, and I'm very thankful for my staff that they recognized a student that went through some tough times, but persevered and is still sitting, 20th, the 20th, highest GPA on campus out of 385 students. His GPA is a 4.306. And again, he's done that while playing sports, while highly involved with after-school activities, mountain biking, cross-country, etc. One thing I love about our students when they leave high school, I think college is easy in terms of time management because I'm always blown away by the number of activities they do. But with that, I'd like to introduce Kobe Harden.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to say thank you to Mr. Whitting and the whole Prescott Valley Town Council and the Rotary Club just for giving me this award. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Miner for just continuing to believe in my ability to achieve success in the classroom. And I'd also like to thank my mom. She's been there through the tough times and the good times, and it can only get better. And so I just love doing math, and I love doing school, and I hope it will continue on into the future. Thank you.
Well, what we'd like to do is, it's our sincere pleasure to be here tonight to recognize you, of course. And we want you to recognize your mother as well, introduce her. But first, I'd like to give you a few things just to remember this evening. And one is a certificate that actually designates Kobe Harden named Student of the Month for September from the Rotary Club, Town of Prescott Valley, and Bradshaw Mountain High School. So hopefully you'll put that in a prominent place and remember your recognition tonight and your honor. And then we do have in your exploits as far as math or whatever takes you, wherever it takes you in the future, a paperweight that indicates you were Student of the Month in Prescott Valley. So use that well. And then we always like to say is that we recognize the potential and the leadership you have, and we hope you come back to Prescott Valley and make a contribution. So with that, congratulations, and please introduce your mother, and if she would like to say a few words, we would be more than happy to hear from her.
I'd like to introduce my mom, Joanne Behringer, if you'd like to say a few words.
Kobe has just blown my mind. When he started high school, I told him, I said, you know what, just don't try to take classes, just take, what the bare minimum, do good, get straight A's. He just didn't like doing homework before high school. And so he started out, just took the bare minimum. We met with his counselor, and his counselor somehow sparked into him to excel and to push himself. And so by that January, he had already switched his class of his own accord into an honors class. And I said, okay, but you're responsible for your homework. And so the next year, he just surprised me with taking mostly pre-AP classes, honors classes. And ever since then, he's just pushed himself. He works a job about 30 hours a week besides sports, and he just loads himself up with homework. And I even tell him, I said, are you sure this is what you want to do? He goes, yep. He goes, I know I can do it. Why wouldn't I? And so he just has exceeded my expectations, matured and grown into just a fabulous young man. I'm super proud of him.
I think a lot of credit does go to your mother, and I think also Bradshaw Mountain High School, and we do appreciate the counselors and the leadership from the staff and faculty there. So congratulations again.
That's great.
Good job, Cody, and keep up the good work, okay? Okay, with that, we move on then to Library Spotlight Report. Stuart, and you can introduce your officers if you would.
Mayor and Council, I just want to say a few words before Kathy Derry, who's the current president, and Larry Martin, who was the president last year. about the spotlight. And we have some other board members. Joan Adamek is here, and I don't know if any of the others are here. But anyway, I want to give credit to the staff. This is one of the earliest that we have come before you. I think it's in some library Guinness World Record, because a lot of times we are about March or April by the time we're able to pull it together. And several of the trustees have complimented us on this, and they were part of course, pulling it together. So I'll turn it over to Kathy and give you your hard copy.
Well, I'll tell you, when I saw this on the internet, I was just so excited that I'm glad I have it in my hot little hands now. So when you guys get it, I just want you to notice, like right on the bottom, it says Spotlight on Ageless Opportunities. We named it that this year just because there's so many opportunities here at the library for many ages. And if I could get you to go to page 4, at the very top, it talks about the program attendance for this last fiscal year. And I want you to see that it has basically broken the record so far in attendance and things like this here at the library through 2014 and 2015. And if you go down to the bottom on page 4, now I promise I won't go through every page or anything like this, but on the bottom it talks about the new drive-up window. And basically that started in February of this last year. And people come up and get their items that they've put on hold. And basically it helps people that can't or don't have time to come in. And that way they can pick up their things and use things here at the library. Yeah, okay, and we're the only one in Yavapai County, yes. Okay, and if you'll go to the center where it talks about the volunteers this last year, you'll see the pictures, but then also I just wanted to point out that in April of this last year, it was the first banquet that they had for the volunteers. And here at the library, we have over 175 volunteers just to help out. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do that. And you'll notice, like, this person's been working, or volunteering, I should say, at the, here in the community for over 35 years. And I won't say too much about the volunteers because I don't want you to take them away. Okay, and then if you could go to the last page, I just want to point out the last thing that was new this year was the annual local author book festival that they had this last year. And the Friends of the Library and the adult program and then the professional writers of Prescott got together and got 50 different local authors here and to discuss about their books and participate in different activities. And they had 22 different activities going on at the same time. And again, the volunteers help make it run smoother and things like this. So if you have a chance, I'd say read this. It's a great little information all about the library. And you guys are on the back. Okay, so if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Good questions, anyone?
I just have a comment. I love your energy. I love everything that you guys do. You're just a great team. Thank you. The library is a very important source in a community. It brings people together, and you do a fabulous job at that.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions, comments? Oh, Laura?
I just wanted to say that I had privilege today of touring a guest through the library, and I never, ever get tired of doing that. And I thank you for your innovative thinking. And, libraries are supposed to die on the vine. Ours is not. Many are not, nor will it.
Hallelujah.
Good. Vice Mayor, any comments?
You continue to amaze us. You have such stamina, all of you. I know you're working shorthanded, and we're doing our very best to fill up your commission, but, it takes time to find quality people like you, and we're working the best we can to do that. But thank you to all of you, and, of course, to Stuart for the wonderful job that you do. It makes it, I'm sure, very easy for your commission your Board of Trustees to work with you. But we're very proud of what our library does, and every one of us can hold our heads up high with our library. Thank you.
Mr. Martin, any comments?
Mayor, you got to ask that when I've got an audience? Stuart earlier called me ex-president. What he doesn't know is that 2 years I can run again, and I've asked Donald Trump and his staff to do my campaign for me. Two things I'd like to say about this. The first one is I am very proud of the library and its willingness to get involved so deeply with technology and electronics, because that, folks, is the future. It is here today, it will be the future, and that's what attracts young people to come into our library and use it. The other thing I wanted to talk about, somebody already mentioned the back page, and it's the 2 vacancies. We need help in getting a couple people on. You said it, Vice Mayor, we do need people, and active people like Kathy. That really is a ball of fire, and help it grow. Lastly, as I have said before many times, and I'll say it again, thank all of you for your support and willingness to go out on a limb sometimes to move this library ahead.
Thank you, Larry. Any other comments?
One more. I don't think I've recognized that the Friends paid for the publication, and we are really thankful for that. Thank you.
Anything else, Kathy?
I think we got it all.
Say it in the microphone, would you?
I think it's all been said, but thank you again for all your help.
Well, thank you so much, and keep up the good work. Larry, good job, too. Okay, with that, we'll move on then to proclamations. Breast care awareness. Ann, you got the proclamations?
Yes, I do, Mayor. National Breast Care Awareness Month, October 2015. Whereas National Breast Care Awareness Month educates women about the importance of early detection for breast cancer, and whereas since National Breast Cancer Awareness inception, mammography use has doubled and breast cancer death rates have declined. And whereas still many women do not utilize mammography at regular intervals, and whereas in recognition of the fact that mammography is the best available method of detecting breast changes that may be cancer long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt, and whereas screening and early detection are essential to our nation's fight against breast cancer, the National Cancer Institute recommends that women age 50 and older have mammography exams every 2 years. Women who are at greater risk should talk with their health care providers about whether to have mammograms before age 50 and how frequently to have them. And whereas breast cancer deaths could decline further if all women age 50 and older received mammograms at regular intervals, and whereas the Breast Cancer Center at YRMC in Prescott Valley is a driving force in the early detection and treatment of breast cancer, and whereas by raising awareness of this disease and supporting research, we can help usher in a new era in our struggle against breast cancer. Now, therefore, I, Harvey C. Skoog, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby declare October the 15th, 2015, as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month and urge all women and their families in the town of Prescott Valley to get the facts about mammography, and further commend and recognize the Breast Cancer Center at YRMC for their dedication and diligence in the fight against breast cancer.
Now we do have Nancy Ledoyan, do I pronounce it right? She's the director of the Breast Care Center, and Frank Almendarez is the CEO of the Prescott Valley. Is that what you call it?
Campus Administrator.
East Campus Administrator. Now, you want to have your comments?
Yes, I just want to thank the council and Mayor Skoog for recognizing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's kind of hard not to recognize that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but I come to each one of you and ask on behalf of all of the staff, all of the physicians that work with breast cancer patients, I ask for your help. Part of what we're doing this year is to kind of take a different tactic and spread the word and share the care, if you will. We work every day in this, so sometimes our message doesn't get delivered quite as forcefully as a loved one who says to their wife, sister, mother, neighbor, church community member, have you had your mammogram? It's very disturbing to me and tugs at my heartstrings when I come into work and my office is right across from the registration and I hear women on a daily basis say, oh, my last mammogram was 7 or 8 years ago. And I don't hold my breath, or I do hold my breath and literally don't exhale until I come out and hear that that year's mammogram happened to be okay. We can prevent breast cancer, we can treat it early, we can be very successful, but I ask each and every one of you to help us share the care for your family, your community, and Yavapai County. We will all be much healthier as a result. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Mr. Almendarez.
As Nancy indicated, we're very proud of the Breast Care Center and appreciate the council for acknowledging and recognizing breast cancer. And again, we put a lot of time into this, and it's a program that we want to make successful and reach as many lives as we can. So thank you very much.
Vice Mayor.
This is an illness that touches every one of us in some way. And every one of us can take some kind of action today to help prevent it. And all we have to do is ask someone to take the next step and have their mammogram done. And we can all do that, each and every one of us. And I hope everyone here in the audience, everyone that's listening, will take that next step. Thank you.
Laura, you had a comment?
I do. Many people know that I'm a survivor after 7 horrible procedures. But what I want to talk about is my daughters and my granddaughters and what you are offering for them. So they may never have to go through 7 procedures if they're diagnosed. What you're doing is beyond saving lives. It's giving hope, and it's catching it at the earliest possible stage. And this message cannot be strong enough. Thank you for being here tonight to share it with us.
Mary, did you have a comment?
Oh, I was going to say, I, of course, take care of that on a yearly basis, and that facility you have over there is absolutely wonderful, and the people there are wonderful, and they're so kind, and it's got this home feel environment in there, and it's just wonderful. You've done a fabulous job, and there's another thing that's there, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but they have a beautiful gift store in there, and the items in there are beautiful, and all of the proceeds go back into helping, and that's important, so you haven't been in there to see that gift store, take that time, because it continues to help people save lives.
Mike, comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say also I had the opportunity to tour the facility when it first opened, and it is state of the art. I think it's quite a resource we have here in our community. And so I think it's probably one of the best resources we have in central Arizona. So it's very important. I think I like the fact that every October we publicize that, and family history has a big part to play. And so I think it's just, I look at it as a missed opportunity if you don't go in and use October as a time to get that check. So we appreciate your being here and the resources you provide. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marty?
Yeah, it's great to know that we have such a forward-thinking medical center within our community and in the area. And with social media being what it is so easy to get the message out there. I just hope that all the women that are able to go and get a breast exam to prevent this terrible disease. I mean, you hear about it all the time, and it's so easy to do, and it doesn't, it's not as harmful and painful as it might have been many years ago. So it's a great process. And having heard, what Mary said regarding the comfort level that a woman will have in there, it's a no-brainer to go and have it done. So thank you very much for this opportunity, for letting us know about it and for the proclamation. And so thank you.
Mayor,
yeah, I'm sorry.
I forgot something.
Okay.
I want you to pay attention. 1st, our skybox will be purple. That's our next proclamation. But your turn will come, and it will be pink, and there will be a big banner. So be watching for it. And we're hoping lots of people ask us why we're lighting that up, because it gives us an opportunity to share this information.
Thank you. Laura,
Good, Mayor.
you got a picture? Come on. Thank you again, Nancy.
Good to see you.
Frank, appreciate it. Keep up the good work. That's just great. Okay, next one is Domestic Violence Month. Who's here for that? Do you have the proclamation, Diane?
Yes, we do, Mayor.
There we are. Hi, Chief.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2015. Whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, gender, and income levels, domestic violence is widespread and affects over 4 million Americans each year. At least 1 in 3 of our community have witnessed an incident of domestic violence. And whereas children that grow up in violent homes are believed to be abused and neglected at a higher rate than the national average, and whereas domestic violence costs the nation billions of dollars annually in medical expenses, police and court costs, shelters, foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and non-productivity, and whereas only a coordinated community effort will help put a stop to this heinous crime, and whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for our community to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy, services, and assistance to victims. Now, therefore, I, Harvey C. Skoog, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge all of our citizens to work together with one goal in mind: to eliminate domestic violence from our community.
Chief, comments?
Just 20 minutes, right? Okay. So, Mayor, Council, and more importantly, our community, on behalf of the Police Department, the Coordinated Community Response Team, our victims advocates, and our mental health community, who really works tirelessly to try to eradicate this problem from our community, we appreciate the Council's recognition and proclamation tonight. And more importantly, we appreciate your support of our efforts to really try to eliminate this problem. I think Prescott Valley is number one for a lot of reasons, but there's one reason that we're number one, or one area that I'm really not very proud of, and that is in domestic violence reported incidents. We lead the county, which is not a really good thing, but we have a really dedicated group of people who are working very, very diligently to try to stop that problem. We have our officers and our detectives who work to investigate and prosecute these cases. We have our victims advocate to try to make sure that our victims have all the services that are available and try to get them to take advantage of those. We have our mental health community and the rest of the CCRT team that are working to work with victims. We're also trying our concerted effort in our education efforts so we can try to prevent domestic violence from occurring in the first place. And now we're working with Northern Arizona University on an assessment tool to try to predict future occurrences and the severity of those occurrences. So these people are working really hard. I may be the person up here speaking right now, but James Tobin's going to come up in a minute. And it's them, it's all of these people here that are really behind the scenes, and they are the ones who are doing the work, and they are the ones who deserve all the recognition. So thank you.
James Tobin, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chief. We did a presentation in Prescott today, Chief Monahan and I, on the problem of substance abuse and domestic violence, family violence, and how they overlap. And put this thing together, and two things became clear to me putting this presentation together. We have a tremendous resource in this area, in this county, our Yavapai County Coordinated Community Response Team. 70 plus members, and that's who most of these folks are here tonight, just stayed late to come and be with us to accept the proclamation. We have a great group. We plan activities, trainings. We meet once a month. We were even able to kick the town council out of the Crystal Room today. I mean, how about that? Thank you guys for changing your time for me, for us. I appreciate it. So it's a bad topic, like the chief said, but good things are happening. And our numbers are going up. 35% increase in domestic violence calls for service in the last 5 years. And you might say, whoa, something's wrong here. But actually, I think it's not a bad thing. I think people are coming up forward and reporting stuff because in the past they felt like nothing was going to get done. And now more people are coming forward, getting directed to help and services. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. But so my final decision on the domestic violence and the substance abuse overlap is that they are both community problems. And a community problem takes a community to solve, and we've got the team to do it here. We also have our secret weapon, Laura Lee Nye over there. So you guys have always offered nothing but support to us. We appreciate it, and thanks again for doing this tonight. And come out October 7th. Hopefully you guys got your invitations to Candlelight Vigil. 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from yesterday. Please come out. It's right next door here. We've got some great speakers lined up, and looking forward to seeing you out there. And thanks again for having us all here.
Who do we delegate to do the introductions?
I would think everybody should introduce themselves.
Everybody do it themselves, huh? Vice Mayor, you have any comments?
My name is Sherry Temlik. I am with Community Legal Services.
Rachel Montague, Prescott Valley Family Violence Unit.
My name is Jared Bird, and I'm with Stepping Stones Agencies.
Evening, my name is Susan Johnson Molina, and I'm the Women Veterans Program Manager for Northern Arizona VA Healthcare System.
My name's Kathy Tootle, and I work for Stepping Stones Agency.
I'm Chris Knack. I'm with Home Care Assistance.
Any other comments, Vice Mayor? Laura?
I would like to especially thank you. You've all been here since 3 o'clock. And believe me, you represent a message that must be heard. So thank you for giving us all that time for the meeting and staying behind. And thank you for each of your agencies for the efforts and the heart that you put into this horrible scourge in our community. You're very special, every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Anyone else? Vice Mayor?
Well, I tend to agree with Officer Tobin. This kind of event won't stop on its own. It needs to be brought to our attention so that action can be taken. The violator will not step forward and stop his activity or her activity. It has to be done for them. And only by knowing about it can we do anything about it. So I agree. The reported incidents, unfortunate as they are, it has to start somewhere, and I think that's where it's going to start. And this carries on for generations, you know, and the children of the violated grow up to either suffer it themselves or become violators themselves. And it has to stop somewhere. And I think we're doing everything we can, and I know all of you are. And I appreciate all the hard work that you do. Thank you.
I don't know what we can add to that. Keep up the good work. Chief, thanks again for doing it. Any other comments? Thank you all so much. Keep up the good work. She's got the proclamation. And don't run away, Chief. Yeah.
No.
Go ahead. It's all them.
Okay. We have one more. That's GMO Awareness Month. Sherry Dreves, did I pronounce that right? Come on up, Sherry. You have the proclamation, Dan?
Yes, you do, Mayor. GMO Awareness Month, October 2015. Whereas the town of Prescott Valley recognizes the needs of citizens to protect the health of themselves, their families, and their community, and whereas the leaders of the town of Prescott Valley recognize and respect the ability and the desire of its constituents to make informed decisions about their food choices, and whereas there is mounting scientific evidence of health and environmental concerns related to the consumption of genetically engineered foods, and whereas epigenetic research has shown that food resets genes for wellness or illness, and whereas many citizens are unaware of the health risks associated with the consumption of genetically modified foods, and whereas we recognize the public demand and need for local, healthy, sustainable foods, and whereas GMO-free Prescott Valley, GMO-free Prescott, Prescott Slow Food, Sustainable Arizona, and GMO-Free Arizona, and GMO-Free USA are dedicated to preserving the ability of individuals to produce, purchase, and consume the foods of their choice. And whereas October of each year, has been celebrated as Non-GMO Month nationally for several years, now therefore, I, Harvey C. Skoog, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby declare October 2015 as GMO Awareness Month and acknowledge our citizens' efforts to grow, purchase, and consume the foods of their choice.
Good. Shay, as the founder of GMO, 20 minutes?
No. Hi. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for adopting our GMO Awareness Month proclamation. About 4 years ago, longer than that, 4.5, 5 years ago, I became aware that there was such a thing as GMOs in our food and started to do research, and I was shocked at what I found. So the last almost 4 years now, GMO Free Prescott has been providing education to individuals, to groups. We've been hosting events just to let people know that this issue is out there and that to encourage them to educate themselves more so they can make better choices. One of the things I would like to bring attention to in the packets that we just passed out, on the right-hand side, there is a graph. And if you pull that out, the graph on one side addresses autism rates, and the graph on the back of it addresses diabetes rates. And recent researcher brought together these statistics that are reflected on those graphs, and here is just one of the health risks that have been associated with consuming GMO foods and the related glyphosate pesticides that are used in their production. It's predicted that if the autism rates continue at the rate they're going now, that in only 10 years, 1 out of 2 children will be diagnosed with autism. I want to repeat that. In only 10 years, 1 out of 2 children will be diagnosed with autism. So think about what that means for our kids, for our families, and for our communities to deal with that situation. On a bigger scale, there are municipalities as small as cities, counties, and entire countries that are actually banning GMO crops. The latest announcement is Russia and Germany. So there's quite a spectrum of how this issue is being dealt with around the world. And we are being blessed in November. The other thing I want to bring your attention to is there's a little card paper-clipped in your information packet called Save the Date. And a man named Stephen Drucker is going to be coming to Prescott in November and is the keynote speaker at Prescott College. We probably would not know what we know today about the GMO situation if it wasn't for Mr. Drucker and a number of expert scientists and even religious leaders that filed a lawsuit against the FDA that was able to produce all of their documentation about how these crops got commercialized. So he is going to be speaking here. So if there's anything that you want to know about the GMO issue, he's looked at the issue all the way back to the molecular biologists that were first monkeying around in the labs with this technology and all the way up to what's happening currently. So with that, I just want to say thank you again for your time. There's lots of educational information in the packets. If there's any way that Sherry or I or our group can be helpful, we'd sure appreciate that. Be happy to.
Shay, one thing, I think Diane is going to be asking me what your last name is.
Richland.
Sherry? Sherry? It's just the first time a lady has not... Can you believe it? Heidi wants to take your picture. Rick, you have any comments? Anyone else have any comments? Okay, I think Heidi wants you to turn around and face her and take a picture. Rick, are you going to pose on the other side? Good. Hey, thank you so much, and keep up the good work. Sherry, always so nice to see you. Okay, one more item. We have comments and communications, and I think Mary has a comment.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank this wonderful community. Tonight it's been a lot about all the things that happen in this community and how we gather together for different events and when people need help. And of course, the prior Albertson store and was purchased by Hagen. And of course, we will be closing our doors next week. And this community has reached out to us over there at that Prescott Valley store and reached out to offer us jobs. And most of us do have jobs. But that's what this community does. And today, this afternoon, was announced that the majority of the stores that were purchased from this company will be closing down across other states and the rest here in Arizona. So Prescott will also be closing too. So as we go forward, I just thank you and appreciate all your prayers and the help that you give us every day and the opportunity we had to serve you as the community and the great community that you are. So thank you so much, all of you, here and out there watching on TV.
Thank you, Mary. Stephen?
I just wanted to bring up an event that is going to be this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's the First Responder Appreciation Lunch. We're going to be providing lunch for all first responders for free, and anybody else can get a plate for $5. It's going to be right in front of the Prescott Valley Police Department. It's going to be a nice day to bring out your family. There's going to be a couple of bands playing, and come show your support for the guys that put their lives on the line for us every day.
Thank you. Steve, any other announcements? Laura?
I think we should thank Stephen for making this happen. You're so quiet about it, Stephen, but this was your project and your heart, and we thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Anyone else? If there's no further comments, we'll move on to number 8. The matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the town council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on an item, it will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. This includes the approval of the September 10, 2015 regular and executive council meeting minutes, approving a Series 6 interim permit liquor license and person transfer for Tony's 2 Bar and Grill located at 8172 East Long Mesa Drive. Harland W. Conover Jr. is the applicant. C is approving a special event liquor license for Emmanuel Lutheran Church Oktoberfest fundraiser to be held October 24th, 2015, on a church property at 7763 East Longlook Drive. D, approving a Yavapai County Resource Advisory Committee RAC grant application by Upper Verde Watershed Protection Coalition. E is approving community development purchase of a new 2015 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 in the amount of $22,034.95 for use by building inspectors. And F is approving a PVPD purchase of Onetshan security equipment in a budgeted amount of $19,449. E is approving a donation of a police motorcycle fleet number MC10 2009 Honda VIN JHSC 51759 K600336 to the Camp Verde Marshal's Office, approving accounts payable. And H is approving the sale of a motorcycle fleet MC12 2011 Honda to Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, Department of Transportation, in a total amount of $6997.58. And approving the sale of a police motorcycle fleet number MC11 2009 Honda and police motorcycle fleet MC6 2006 Harley Davidson to the Chino Valley Police Department, a total amount of $11,494.50. J is the monthly report, financial report. K is council investment report. L is department reports, and M is accounts payable. Does anyone want to pull an item, or would you like to approve it as a whole?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
A motion made in a second. I believe we'll have to do it by voice vote. Is that, Diane?
I don't have a button.
We're working on a new system here, and none of us quite know how to run it yet.
Vice Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory? Councilmember Mallory?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Marshall?
Yes.
Councilmember Nye?
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting?
Yes.
Mayor Skoog?
Yes.
That passes
Thank you,
unanimously,
Diane.
Mayor.
Okay, now we go to old business for action. Second reading of ordinance number 809, approving amendments to Chapter 13, zoning of the Town Code and Lodging Code, amendments number ZOA 15-001. With that, I'm going to ask the Town Clerk to read ordinance number 809 by title only for the second reading. Diane?
Ordinance number 809, an ordinance of the Mayor and the Common Council of the Town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, adopting by reference a document entitled Short-Term Lodging Amendments and declared by resolution number 1932 to be a public record, amending Articles 13-02 definitions, 13-06 use regulations, 13-17 use regulations, 13-21 accessory buildings, structures, and uses, and 13-24 off-street parking requirements minimum in Chapter 13 zoning to clarify and update the use regulations related to short-term lodging, providing that all other chapters, articles, and sections of the Town Code not herein amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be affected but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, Dan. Are there any questions or comments, discussion? If not, then I will ask, shall the ordinance pass? Will you take the vote, Diane?
Councilmember Whiting?
Yes.
Councilmember Nye?
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall?
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
And Mayor Skoog?
Yes.
That passed unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, we move on to number 10, new business. A is consideration of reading ordinance number 808, adopting amendments to correlate with the Arizona Revised Statute 9-49101, as amended, and to rename 8-02-030 license required in Article 802 business licenses. Diane, you have any comments on that?
Just a couple of comments, Mayor. This is as a result of the last legislative session. As you're aware, the legislator frequently make changes to existing Arizona Revised statutes. The town of Prescott Valley has required business licenses since 1979 and would like to continue to do so, but we would need to update our town code to correspond with the latest legislative changes.
Thank you. Any questions, anyone? Legislators love to simplify our work. The more they simplify it, the harder it gets. Comment, Laura?
Is that the right word? Simplify?
Isn't that what it is, Diane? They simplify it and make it harder? Any questions, comments, motions?
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to read ordinance number 808, adopting amendments to correlate with Arizona Revised Statute 9-491.01 as amended, and to rename 8-02-030 license required in Article 8-02 business license by voice vote.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the vote, Diane?
Councilmember Grossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory.
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall.
Yes.
Councilmember Nye.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
And Mayor Skoog.
Yes. And with that, I ask Town Clerk to read the ordinance number 808 by title only for the first reading. Diane?
Ordinance number 808. An ordinance of the Mayor and the Common Council of the Town of Prescott Valley, a municipal corporation of Arizona, amending Chapter 8 Business of the Town Code by renaming and amending Section 8-02-030, license required in Article 8-02 Business License, to conform with changes in state law, providing that all other chapters, articles, and sections of the Town Code not herein repealed or amended shall remain in full force and effect, providing that if any provision in this ordinance is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining provisions shall not be affected but shall continue in full force and effect, and providing that this ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage and approval according to law.
Thank you, Diane. We move on to number 10B, consideration of approving the library E-rate services agreement with Yavapai County School Superintendent. Stuart?
Mayor and Council, I'm very excited about this program. In the 5-year report we gave you, we talked about our internet service and the fact that we needed to upgrade what we have because we had all these outages. We were paying $300 a month. We will go to $1,300 a month. Frank Vanderhorst, who works for Yavapai College or Yavapai County, Tim Carter's office, is here to help us get through this E-rate grant process by the federal government. There are a lot of deadlines and forms, and he is the one that will help us, and I'll let him come on up, and if you have any questions for him regarding it, he's the guru of the E-rate of things for libraries.
Well, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, Stuart. Are there any questions about E-rate?
Yes, help us understand it.
In a very short way, E-rate is a federal program that provides funding for technology for schools and libraries. It pays for internet access, it pays for equipment, it pays for telephones. In the case of Prescott Valley Library, the government will pay 80% of your internet and your equipment costs. You have the federal government pays for equipment based on the square footage of your library, and you have a beautiful large library. Government will pay over the next 5 years 80% of almost $100,000 for equipment upgrade if you need it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's based on the discount, the rate for Humboldt Unified, which is the school district that you're in. So the $1,300 new internet rate, when you take 80% of that off, you're pretty close to where you were with the poor service.
Any questions, anyone? I think we're going to have to take your word that's a good thing. Stuart, anything else?
Yes, and I thought he might say he's a fellow council member from the city of Jerome, and so he was seeing how all this works tonight. But anyway, getting back to it, as we have mentioned, going to the new provider, the speed will be increased tremendously, and it's just something we need to do for our patrons.
And welcome from Jerome, so come on by.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Any other comments, questions, motions, Laura?
I'll make a motion now that I think I understand it. Motion to approve the E-rate services contract with the Yavapai County School Superintendent by voice vote.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you call the vote, Diane?
Vice Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory.
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall.
Yes.
Councilmember Nye.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Skoog.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good job. Okay, we want to see consideration of authorizing the payment of $84,320 to the Department of Revenue because of their administration and collections assessment fee for fiscal year 15, 16, and all succeeding years. Bill, how did this come about?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. Excuse me. The item before you, as you said, is the approval of payment for $84,320 for Department of Revenue. Just to give you a little bit of background information, starting in 2012, basically the states wanted to simplify our TPT tax calculations.
That always helps, doesn't it?
It does. Government is involved. It does help quite a bit. So in this situation, over the last couple years, they've been modifying different sections of the tax code, different ways of trying to streamline the payments, things like that. So earlier this year, legislation was passed where basically some of the changes to the tax code were approved, based on some of the comments from our contractors. I'm not sure that it's actually been simplified or not, but changes have been approved. Some of the other changes that have occurred right now, the City of Prescott, which is a non-program city, beginning in January, they will not be allowed to collect their own city taxes anymore. Everybody will be paying basically the state of Arizona or the Department of Revenue through this kind of a portal. So if you have businesses throughout the state, basically you would log in, you would type in your business, and you would pay all the different cities. So in theory, that's how it's supposed to work. I'm not sure it's quite working yet, so we'll see if that happens. The other part that was changed is local audits. I have a staff member that would go out, and if there's a local business, a contractor that we think may not be paying their correct taxes, we can go ahead and audit them without the approval of the state. That's not allowed anymore. Any audit at all has to be approved, has to be reviewed, and basically at the end of the audit, if we end up doing it, they actually have to approve it. So there's been a lot of those changes like that that have occurred with that approval of the legislation at the beginning of the year. Now, with all these changes, the Department of Revenue is obviously going to start to grow, and they'll need a funding source. So the funding source is going to come from all of the towns and cities and counties based on their population size. So every year, we will be assessed an amount. This year, it's $84,320. Next year, depending on the difference of population, if there's annexations occur and the populations increase, then the bill could go up. Unlikely that it'll go down, but most likely it'll go up. So every year, this will be part of our budget process. I'll begin usually in February, March. I typically get the amount as to what it will be. So I'll incorporate it into our general fund budget, and it'll come before you every budget process for approval. So that's kind of the simplified version of why this is due and why this payment is necessary. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions that council might have.
Rick?
I just want to make sure I understand this correctly.
Me too.
There's no incentive for the state to hold down costs, because if the costs rise, the towns and cities are going to pay the cost anyway.
It appears that's correct.
That's kind of like telling Jesse James there's a new bank in town. Okay, I got it.
Laura?
It's okay.
None of this is directed at you, Bill. I'm just so fed up.
Mary?
Okay. So I just want to see if I understand this correctly. So this is new, correct? This is a new process with them?
Parts of it are. Most of the cities in Arizona already, the businesses already pay to the Department of Revenue already. So there's 16 non-program cities like Prescott, Flagstaff, some of the larger cities. They're going to have to comply in the future at some point. Some of the other changes, the audit change, that's a new change. Some of the things that you would never see is how some of the builders, how those tax calculations are made for them to pay their taxes. And then there's one of the bigger one is it's all the payments now are going to be for all businesses will be funneling into the Department of Revenue, and they're trying to upgrade and expand their software system and staff, because right now then they're going to be responsible for all of the audits that occur throughout the state. So that's what most of these changes are for.
And we, as cities and towns, have to pay them to do this.
$20 million, approximately.
As they continue to grow their business.
Right.
Mayor,
Got it.
Laura?
now that I got my angst out, I can get my real question out. Do we have any ability to hold them accountable so that we can protect our citizens here who are paying this? And accountability is really important. And I don't see anywhere in here where there's any accountability.
It's going to be difficult because of the, it's going to be such a large department, and for us being a fairly small town, there's meetings that occur every other month, every quarter that my staff goes to. Representatives from the Department of Revenue are typically there. We have a very good working relationship with them at this point. So, if we call them at this point, they're very responsive, they're very receptive, they look into it. My only concern is going forward.
Right, that's
when they have to do all the audits and they have to do all of this additional work. And I don't know where the staff that they're going to be, hiring these additional auditors are coming from. So it's time will tell whether or not the level of service that we currently receive is going to be the same as what we'll receive in the future.
It's a very helpless feeling that we cannot protect our citizens. That is just so difficult for me.
Marty?
Yeah, I notice in the summary that there is one of the fees is based on our population. Now, we're going to be having a mid-decadal census. Will that affect the fee in any way?
Any change in population will affect the fees. So all of a sudden, if a whole bunch of cities have a mid-decadal census and their population goes way up, and our population doesn't increase as much, then our fees should come down because it's supposed to be a percentage of the total for the state. So, it could. It really could. So I don't know in the future how this number, the 84,000, will change, if it'll go up or go down. I think it's still kind of to be determined as to how the population number is actually going to be calculated. So once all of that is resolved, I think we'll have a much better idea what our annual fee is going to be.
So they could quite easily just change the way they calculate everything and just hit us up with a bigger number if they feel like it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be harder to do, but that's always possible, obviously, but I think that's harder to do.
Not right.
Mike?
Yeah, I was just curious. You mentioned the $20 billion. Is that, I guess we're all tied to a formula, as you described, and is that related to a budget for the Department of Revenue?
Correct.
So they're forecasting a budget of $20 billion to make this work?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Any other comments? Steve? It's always nice when they simplify things and save us money, isn't it, Bill?
It is. It is.
Are there any comments, motions, promotions, demotions?
Somebody wants to make the motions.
We're stuck with it whether we like it or not, but I think we better make it legal.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to authorize the payment of $84,320 to the Arizona Department of Revenue for their administration and collections assessment fee for fiscal year 15-16 and all the succeeding years by electronic vote.
And I'll second that motion, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. Would you call the vote, Diane?
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory,
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall,
Yes.
Councilmember Nye,
Reluctantly, yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Reluctantly, yes.
Mayor Skoog,
Reluctantly, yes. Did that pass reluctantly?
Unfortunately, yes, it did pass unanimously.
Okay, thank
Unanimously,
you. Yeah, there wasn't much choice in that, but we have to make it legal anyway. Move on to D, consideration of approving the Utilities Department purchase of a CAT 304 E2 mini excavator in the amount of $43,972.92. Neil?
Well, I'm hoping that this is going to make a whole lot more sense to you than that last one did.
Neil, you always do a good job, so yes.
We'd like to purchase a new mini excavator for working on water lines in the easements, the narrow easements behind homes. And it's going to cost $43,972.92. And I think with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Do I have to pay the Arizona Department of Revenue any more money on this?
We'll have to ask Bill that question.
Because I just paid them
Bill, do we
quite a
have to
lot
do
of
that?
money.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't cover that in the first bill? Great. Got it.
Does that include sales tax, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Mike?
Yeah, just wondering what the disposition of our current equipment that we're replacing will be.
We actually have two mini excavators right now. One of them, the one that we're replacing, is actually a little bit smaller of a unit and has trouble with the reach on it. We can't reach over things like APS transformers and stuff. So this one's got a much longer reach on it. That one, we believe we have a use for it, so we're going to hold on to it. I think the Parks Department may end up using that one a little bit more. So, but with the new one that we're getting, we'll be able to put it to more use than the existing one because obviously we have more places we can get it into.
Councilman Whiting, basically I met with the Parks and Rec Department this week, and they have a need for a tractor that they'll be able to use to fix irrigation systems and replace irrigation lines in all of our turf areas. And as they're doing the maintenance work with that, this little baby tractor that Neil's wanting to get rid of, which is not much bigger than your grandchild's Tonka toy, goes ahead and it can go out on the turf, do the excavations needed to do that. And they're really excited about getting what is Neil's discard.
Marty?
Yeah, we're going to be able to take turns on riding this thing and playing with it.
It only takes a half a
Neil, I apologize to you for having to follow the former or giddy and a lot of silly things. We appreciate you, and we trust you that this is important and needs to be taken care of.
Thank you. Mary?
I was going to make a motion.
Oh, okay.
Are we good? I'd like to make a motion of approving the Utilities Department purchase of the CAT 304 E2 mini excavator in the amount of $43,972.92. Thank you.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Neil, by the way, good job on that. Thank you. You call the roll for us, Diane? Vote.
Vice Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory?
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman?
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall?
Yes.
Councilmember Nye?
Absolutely, yes.
Councilmember Whiting?
No doubt about it, yes.
And Mayor Skoog.
Go for it. Okay, we have number 11, consideration and discussion of general unscheduled comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. Any comments, anyone? Chief, welcome. Good to see you. There is no comments. We have one more item that I know everybody hates. That's number 12. We need a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you call the vote, Dan?
I'm sorry, Mayor, I didn't catch who seconded. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor seconded.
We're going to vote?
Mayor Skoog.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Councilmember Nye.
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall.
Yes.
Councilmember Mallory.
No.
Councilmember Grossman.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Anderson.
Yes, indeed.
We had a unanimous vote.
Thank you, Diane. And thank you all for coming.